Hey up troops, hey Littleton here again with another video, and we're going to be looking at Grim's new buff, the bouncy bee buff. Now the main problem I have with Grim is when I'm making these intros that are all a bit cheesy and a bit funny, as a 34-year-old man I have to pretend that I'm being attacked by bees, and I'm not going to do... Must be a Grim somewhere around there, I think. So Grim's been buffed for a second time in recent memory. The first buff increased the area that the bees covered, it increased the number of pings, and it increased how often the pings were. The second buff changes the fire mode of the launcher so the canister can bounce around corners and bounce off surfaces. I'm not just saying this so you watch the video, but when I first saw the second Grim buff, I was like, oh, a bounty canister, cool. I've just been testing some different sites recently, and I actually think there's some really, really cool areas where you can play Grim now, and I will definitely be playing Grim in the new season. So we'll quickly have a look at what the new buff does. We'll just show the bouncing canister off a wall in like an open area so you can see it dead easily. Then we'll go on to 3 maps to run through some ideas that I had whilst testing it. We'll look at Clubhouse, Bank, and Chalet. That's enough waffling. Let's get stuck into it. I'm absolutely buzzing for this one. Right then, what's changed about Grim? Grim can now bounce canisters. Press B down in the bottom right. You'll see the select fire move to the bouncy bee rather than the straight on bee canister we're calling it. I'm going to show you out here first because it's going to be the clearest, but essentially you bounce it off one wall and you'll see that it comes off in an equal and opposite direction and lands almost equally to where we fired it. It does take some sting out of it when you hit the wall. But just to give you an idea, by the way, you can't really bounce it off multiple surfaces. So it will bounce off the second surface before it lands, but it doesn't bounce off the second surface like it bounced off the first. Let's have a look. So you can see it just sort of drops off the second one. Like, it bounced all the way across there, but only made it to there. So it doesn't quite get across as far as you think it will. Where this is going to be most used, really, is on doorways like this. So if you've got, like, a defender holding blue stairs on this angle, you would never be able, if you were playing Grim, to be able to get the bees to where you want them to be without face checking it and without getting your head blown off. Whereas now, you can fire it off a door frame, and it'll land exactly where you want it to down there on blue stairs. If anything, that's probably a bit too far. So just remember, when you're bouncing it, if you aim it up, it's going to hit the top of the door frame and then bounce in an arc. If you want it to aim down, aim sort of middle, and it'll bounce off there. Probably land around somewhere here. Let's give that a try instead. Yeah, that's much better. So that's exactly where we want it to land, on the stairs. So just remember, if you're aiming it up on the door frame, it is going to loop off in that sort of pattern and land a bit further back than where you wanted it to. So it's just a bit of learning a bit of trajectory, and that'll all come with time, really. So I've been sort of wandering around different maps trying to find out where Grim is now going to be viable and what sort of angles we can use. And I did find this one to begin with up in Clubhouse. Looking at this bit of ducting there, it's on a 45-degree angle to rafters. So rather than before, I keep saying you would have had to change it onto the bounce section there, but you would have had to face check rafters to get the bees anywhere near here. By the time you do this, you've had your face taken off by the Azami or one eye that's playing on rafters. However, you can now safely peek here, providing that obviously they're not in this area here and they're somewhere here, which is when people normally are on rafters. You can peek here, hit this part of the duct, it'll bounce off there and land halfway down rafters and fill this with bees. This is the main area people are going to be. Excuse the pun. Obviously, now they can move down to here, but the beauty of that is you know that they're at least here. You haven't got to guess about panel 1 and panel 2 because you know they're not going to be there. So, using that 45-degree angle again, and the further across you fire it, the closer it's going to be to this wall. The further over to the left that you fire it, the closer it's going to be to bouncing off the rafters, so just be careful. I aim just sort of in the middle-ish. It tends to land where I want to in between panel 1 and 2, but it clears out that area. Like, you know they can't be behind there, and if they are behind there, they're going to be pinged. If they're not behind there, you know you can sort of peek to about here and then start peeking this area. In fact, you could even, at this point then, you know, fire another one in that corner. Oh, I've got it on bounce mode, so it's going to drop off. I know it's landed up there. I thought it was going to hit there and then drop down there. And now we've got the... So, based on... If we'd have fired 2 there, we've got 90 covered, and we've got panel 1 and 2 covered, which is pretty good going if you need to clear it. Obviously, you're going to have to then make the push, which is not easy to do, because defending rafters and attacking onto rafters is pretty difficult. But it's certainly going to help being able to cover that area with bees there, especially with the buff of the time and the buff that Griff got. Griff? Who's Griff? Grim got last season. It's going to be helpful. So the other one I found on Clubhouse is when you're attacking basement, you can drop oil pit, and we can use this sort of cylindrical shaped boiler, I guess it is, like a tank, whatever that is. Because of the shape of it, we can fire one off the corner of this tank here, and it'll land here, and then we can also fire one manually down to this area, and it'll cover pretty much the whole of that air conditioning unit. So the first one we're going to fire is manually down to the bottom. We've got it on bounce mode, but it'll just bounce off the wall and hit the floor, and that'll fill that bit with bees. And then if we come off this tank here, it'll bounce over to the left, and we'll go and have a look at what we filled there. You can see that one's landed here. You can see that that one's landed down here. And this whole area now is covered in bees. There's one tiny little gap here that they can stand in. If you get a better bounce off the boiler, you can see that it landed here. If you get a better bounce off the boiler, it will go further to behind blue. I've got one more canister to try and show you. You get it right off, that's a much better one. You get it right off the edge there, you see how it goes further over. So now you can see the bees are in this area as well. So you get it here, you fire one here, and this whole area is now covered in bees. It's going to give you a good indication if anyone's behind here. What they'll probably do is use the rotate that is in blue into church, and they'll back off into here. But that's perfect, because then they've moved out of the area that you want to take. You can then push down oil pit far more confidently, knowing that they're going to be in this rotate, and not... I mean, how many times have you died to this when you're coming down blue? You're sneaking down and someone goes, oh, hello, and you're dead. You know they're not going to be in this area. Obviously, follow it up with the drone. You've got to... Every drone's better than any utility, because you can literally see. So follow it up with the drone, but you're going to be able to flush people out of here, no problem. We've moved on to bank now, and I'm thinking about anchor points that we can get people out of. Well, I say get people out of. You're not going to be able to get them out of them, but you can flush them away from it. Is an area like this in janitors. So, for example, you're going to get... Sometimes you have someone play a shield here, but you'll very often get an aggressive smoke or an aggressive frost, because a lot of people like playing frost here to make a line of sight across here. Oh, not like that. Make a line of sight across there with a couple of frost mats. And then when you jump in stock and you die, they can confirm the kill from here. But yeah, it can be a smoke here as well. Now, the reason smoke's good here is because the shotgun, you can just hold this area with the shotgun. Obviously, next season when the shotguns get a buff, it's going to be really good as well. And they'll either be holding back there or somewhere around here. Now, what you'd be able to do now with the bouncy bees is, one, you'd be able to bounce it off this door frame so we can clear this area. But standing in this area of the door, we can bounce it off this wall here, which I'm hoping will send bees somewhere near the back of janitors. Let's have a look. So the first one off the door frame goes exactly where we think it's going to go, and covers that corner. And the second one, again, without face checking this, because the angle they're going to be holding is somewhere like this, possibly. You don't want to be face checking that too much. You want to be using the bounce. Without being here, you want to use the bounce here. And from here, bounce it off the back of the wall. It lands on that wall, which is even better, actually. And then that covers the back area as well. So the only place they can be is here. So bear in mind with these bees, by the way, is they don't go through objects. So you can see they landed here. Because this object's in the way, they're not going to appear here. But what you can do is you can narrow down the area. If you're not getting a ping and you know someone's in here, you can narrow down the area where you know they're going to be. So if we do that again, we fire one this side, and we fire one that side. We now know that this is full of bees, and this is full of bees. The only place they can be is here, really, but you wouldn't be stood there. But the only place they can be is here. So knowing that, you can be far more confident when you peek and start pre-firing the angles that you know they're going to be in. If you haven't got a red ping there or there, you know they're not going to be there because you've got bees there. Obviously, it sounds obvious. And I keep saying going to be there, you've got bees there. I feel like I'm like an awful British rapper. So yeah, if there's bees at the back, I throw myself off there. If there's bees at the back and there's bees here and you're not getting a red ping, you know they're not there. The only place they can be is somewhere here or back through the rotate. In which case you can narrow down when you're looking and you're trying to find where they are in here. You can narrow it down to those spaces that you know they're not in. So you can find the places that they are in. I feel like I've dwelt way too long on that because that's pretty obvious. But you get what I mean. We're downstairs in the server on bank now, and I feel like this one is really, really useful. Now, yes, this wall might be open when it comes to getting the plant off, and if it is, it's absolutely fine. But what we're aiming to do here is to take cover from using this wall, and what we're trying to do is bounce the bees off this door frame, and what we're hoping will happen is it bounces through this door frame, it comes off here and lands somewhere around this area here, and it'll fill this area here with bees, because this is a common place to hold. You'll stand here in the door frame taking cover, and you can peek the breach, or peek the breach here, or you can peek the door. Or you can stand here and you'll have a line of sight. Oh, my bailiff needs reloading. Bear with me. Have a line of sight along there, so you can peek there and then you can peek there. Whereas obviously filling that area with bees means no one can stand there, unless of course they want to get red ping. That's something to bear in mind, by the way. This whole bee situation isn't guaranteed to flush someone out of an area, but it means that if they are in that area, you're going to get notified. You know, me saying, oh, we're going to put bees here, that means no one's there. It doesn't mean that. It means someone might stand there and go, you know what? I'm fine being red pinged. I don't mind if you know me. So from here, hit the door frame. I think we've just caught the other door frame there. We've just caught the other one there, but it's in the right area. If we aim a bit lower, I think we might get further around. Let's try again. So I think that's more what we wanted. Yeah, that's perfect. So we just needed to be a little bit lower. Now this whole area is covered in bees. You know someone's going to be playing around here. Like, someone plays around here all the time. But yeah, fire it a little bit lower. On that door frame from here. Around this area. Right on the edge. Just going to fill that whole section there. That one's even better, actually. You know what? He's actually... If you learn a couple of lineups, he's going to be so good. I find that a bit... I'm just going to ramble on for a second here. Bear with me. I find that a little bit strange with Siege, by the way. No one's willing to learn, like, lineups and stuff, really, on the whole. Some people are. But you know, like in Valorant, you've got, like, Sova lineups. You've got that poison woman that fires curtains of whatever that green stuff is, that poison stuff. I can't remember. Viper is her name, I think. Like, people learn lineups for that, and on CS, people learn smoke lineups and stuff all the time. But in Siege, like, no one can be bothered to learn a Sense lineup. No one can be bothered to Tachanka, especially. Some of the Tachanka lineups you can learn are mad. And obviously with Grim now, learning where you can bounce things off to get things in different areas. It's like really, really strong, but no one seems to be bothered about it. Anyway, that's that rant over. Well, let's get on to a different map. I just missed that pipe. I wasn't even kidding though. I meant to hit that and that. And I've missed that. I'm keeping this in the video though. Can't believe I've done that. So we're on to Chalet, and I was just thinking about the main breach and what tends to happen. This is generally in lower elo. In higher elo, this hatch will get open, but for some reason in lower elo, it doesn't get opened as often. If you're playing in like plateau below, open this hatch as often as you can. The best way to do this, we're going completely off topic before we even talk about Grim. But the best way to open that hatch is just play... Sorry, bear with me. The best way to do that is... Oh, I'm securing the objective. I didn't realize I was on secure objective. I thought I was on bomb. I was worrying. Best thing to do here is just play Habana. Come and take light in the prep phase. We're way off topic here. I'm really sorry, but I might as well show you. In the prep phase, come and put a drone on this shelf. Go up again. And then go up again onto the rafters. And just keep an eye out. One, this drone is going to be able to get you into the library. But two, you're going to be able to see if anyone's like... You know when you get defenders like this? Like absolute gremlins. Sitting here, right? On this, sit on cams like this. They look exactly like this. And waiting to jump out on the breach. And like look down there. Well, one, you're going to be able to see that. Two, you can hardly see that drone. And three, when you want to come and get in library, you can actually get in library. But the reason I say come up here with a banner is, one, shoot this default cam. Two, come this way. Shoot this default cam. You want to drone yourself just to make sure there's no one around piano area. But then come down here and open it with the pallets from here. Don't try and open this with thermite. Don't try and open this with hard breach charges. It's so you'll die so many times opening that with hard breach charges from somebody walking up main stairs. Yes, you could use Ace, but Ace is a little bit of a waste to have to use 2 Salmers to open it. You probably want to have Ace on the breach rather than thermite. But yeah, come up here with a banner, open that. You've got flashes as well, so you can flash main stairs from here. You can drop. You can then flash the hatch and then drop down. You get out of the way of that. Anyway, we've completely gone off there. But yeah, remember to open that hatch because it just means that no one can play here. Or, well, they can play here, but they'd have to be an idiot because the hatch is open. And you can then take advantage of that. But trying to clear someone out of this area here when I was first starting to play the game, I couldn't figure it out. Like, how am I supposed to get someone out of here? However, now, with Young Grim, we can bounce this off the wall. Anyone tucked in to that area. We've gone a little bit too tight there. I probably want to aim a little bit further over. A little bit further down. Yeah, that's better. I mean, we're still learning about the way. I mean, it still fills the whole area with bees anyway because the area is so big now. Just means that you know that no one's back connector. You don't even have to worry about it. Imagine this, by the way, when you're going in for the plants. This is a common anchor area here. Behind this bookcase. So imagine you're going in for the plants. Before you go in for the plants, you drop a little fella there. You drop a fella here. You drop a fella there. How good is that? Is Grim actually unreal and we just don't use him well enough? Like for an execute from a main... on a site from a main breach like this. So think about the sites where you've got a breach right next door to where you're about to go into the map. So we're thinking Chalet basement like this. We're thinking CCTV clubhouse. We're thinking maybe canal. But sites where there's a massive breach next to when you're going through. Being able to just cut off those anchor points with a couple of bees. And bear in mind, I only fired 3 then, but we have 5 ultimately. We could just like corner off so much of the site. And then your best plant spot is here. I'm really going off subject talking about the site here. I made a video about how to attack this site where everyone for some reason wants to plant here. But obviously planting here means you're just going to get domed from anyone that comes through this door and sees you there. Or anyone even playing here can just stop you planting there. Whereas anyone, if you plant here, the person in connector has to come out of connector to see you there. And by that point, you've been absolutely smoked from your teammates on the breach. The only place that you are, if you're planting here, the only place you have to worry about is main stairs. So the whole point of this plant is to take main stairs. You don't even have to peek main stairs. You just need somebody here to know that there's nobody there. Like, just hold this here. And you can just plant there for free. Because this gets reinforced every time, don't forget. If this isn't reinforced, you can't do this. But this gets reinforced in 99 times out of 10 games. Whoa! You can just plant here. It's literally free. For some reason, everyone wants plants over there. But don't forget, you can shoot through the... these wheelie bins aren't bulletproof. So if you're planting there as well, you can... If you're defending... This goes for defending as well. If you're defending and someone's planting behind these bins here, you can just kill them from here. If I shoot there, you'll see the bullet marks on the wall. Like, they're not bulletproof. So, yeah, if you hear someone planting, they're planting behind the wheelie bins and you're in blue, just, like, spray behind there and you'll kill them. But anyway, we digress. But yeah, using Grim, like, you can just cut off, like, connector, bottom main even, you can fire it to here and blue. And just go and plant there. As long as you know that there's nobody here, because this is the tricky one. But that's why you have somebody on main stairs. We've really gone off on a tangent there, but you get what I'm saying, right? This site's so easy. So for the final one on Chalet, then we're going to look at the piano area. And this is really, really useful as well. And I feel like I say that all the time. It's really useful, but it is. You'll often get somebody hiding in this area here with a shotgun waiting for you to come through. Obviously, the obvious answer to this is come to the window. And you're going to be able to stop them standing here. But it's not always as simple as that, because you're probably in a 3v4 at this point. And your two randoms are in, like, solar windows and library, and no one's going to the window and listening to what you're saying. So if you're in this position here, obviously switch it to the bouncer. From here, now you can stop anyone standing there, or at least if anyone is standing there, you can know about it. The other two areas that you need to worry about is this area here and this area here. Now, these are obviously, again, both prevented by having someone on big window. If you have a teammate, if you're stacking with people and you don't do this, then you're doing it wrong. But you can stop that by having a teammate literally just holding that there. And no one can play in those two good anchor areas. You're going to have to watch the run out from Trench, but you can do that with a Claymore or Nomad Charge quite easily. But these are two very common anchor spots towards the end of the round. Both here and here. Now, obviously, you used to be able to get a bit of these areas with Grim, because you could just fire one at the back areas. But now they bounce, it covers the area even better. So from here, obviously, don't fire it too high, otherwise it's going to bounce. If you fire it here nowadays, like here, it's going to bounce all the way over to this wall. You want to fire it sort of mid-wall, so it drops just into the middle of this area here. Same on the other side as well. You don't want to be firing it too high, but somewhere around there, and somewhere around there. And that was actually probably too high. You want it to be close to the bathroom. Luckily, it still fills the area anyway. Probably a bit lower down there. But you can see now, you know that no one's holding those two angles. You can push through there now. If you were to cover this area as well, you were to have fired that first one that we talked about here. So you know no one's on this angle. You know no one's on this angle or on this angle. You've still got to worry about back piano. There'll quite often be a shield on here. You've still got to worry about that area. I wonder if, actually, let's just test this quickly. If we aim up, will it loop all the way over towards the back piano? Oh my god, it's insane. You can cut... Oh my god, is Grim mad or what? Or am I just getting a bit excited because it's new? But you can literally, with 4 charges here, aim it high up here, and aim it at the back of piano, and then from here to here, and then the back of there and the back of there, you can clear piano. Or at least you can stop people standing there unless they don't want to be red paint. No one's going to stand in the bees, by the way. If the bees come, people move. You're absolutely going to move. But you can do that and then push in. And like crouch around here behind the piano, hold this angle. Get the guy that was just here. I don't know, I feel like there's a real possibility to play some Grim these days. Anyway, there's 3 examples, 3 maps. Let's wrap it up. So there we have it. There's Grim buff number 2. I feel with the Grim buff number 1, Grim buff number 2, I feel like Grim's usable. He has an unbelievable weapon set, by the way, along with the Bailiff and Harbridge charges if you want them. But being able to bounce them around corners for the duration it goes on for now, it is oppressive. In area, especially on piano on Chalet there, I've realised that that's really, really strong. And I feel that I'm going to see a lot more Grim play this season, I feel like he's actually going to be good for solo queue, where you can open your own hatches if they're reinforced. You can open your own soft breach if you want to, lines of sight, etc., etc. But you can... You know when you're playing in a stack, you need someone to drone for you to check an area is free. Well, you don't need to do that with Grim. If you want to push cafe top floor and you want to push piano and you're worried about pixel, fire some bees into pixel, and if there's no ping, you can push through. It's kind of like clearing areas for yourself as you go. I think that'll be probably quite useful in solo queue. As always, a thank you to you, yes, you the viewer. This channel's nothing without you. If you've watched this video for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, or if you've watched it 10 times, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. This channel literally is nothing without people that watch it, so nice one to you. Other than that, that sums us up for this time. I'll see you next time. Cheers!